Hi everybody. So today we've got a quick Q&A session for you. So we've got some questions you've asked us, which hopefully I'm going to answer for you. But we're also as well just going to bring you some information that you've supplied to us from one of our recent videos when we did the video on keeping warm in California. So we've had some great comments and some excellent feedback from some of you regarding what you do. So I'm going to share that with you today as well. But to start with, so we're going to mix and match all these questions in because there's a few questions which lead on to other ones as well that's on there. So first question you come from you is reference the diesel heater, whether this is a nighttime diesel heater. And by that, I'm assuming you mean on the 6.1, can you leave it on during the evening time as well? And that is the case. Yes, you can leave it on from there. We are going to be doing a video quite shortly in the next 2 weeks or so where we're actually going to look at the operation of the diesel heater and how it actually works in a little bit more in depth. That should hopefully answer some of those questions regarding that. So we're going to leave it on for quite a long time, then we'll come back to it and show you what it does and doesn't do at the end of those periods as well. So we're just working on that video now. Said a couple of weeks' time or so, hopefully before the end of the year, we'll get that out to you as well, and that'll give you probably a better indication on how that actual particular diesel heating system works as far as the operation is concerned from there moving forward. That kind of leads us on to some of the feedback we've had from you, reference our staying warm video as well. So I'll quickly run you through those and we'll get back to the Q&A. Thank you for all these comments. It's really, really good. It's nice to have the feedback back. One of them was about wearing thermals. Never even thought about mentioning what you could actually wear in there to keep warm as well. So as it gets colder and colder, thermals, for example, are a really, really good way of keeping warm when you're outdoors. I've got several sets myself, to be perfectly honest, from the days when we used to go skiing and things like that, and I use them a lot when I'm out as well. It's really cold, I can put them on under jeans. Won't be afraid to say that I've done that in the past as well, to keep warm during the day when you're outside as well. But when you're inside as well, that's a really good piece of advice that's on them. One of you uses a USB fan for ventilation, so that would work. You could plug that in the top section that's in there as well if you're upstairs or downstairs, and have a little fan moving around that would obviously keep air circulation going, which is a good one from there. One that my partner will absolutely love that's on here is an electric blanket. Never even thought of that, and that's a really, really good idea. Because if you've got electric on a site somewhere and you're plugged in, for example, that's on there, you could fit that blanket on top before you put a sheet or something on, or a topper on the top bunk that's in there as well, and just leave that on, and then just plug it into a main socket in your cabinets down below on that particular one that's on there, and that would obviously just warm that up and give you a nice warm toasty bed before you get into it. So cracking idea that. Might have used that myself in the future. Two last things that people mentioned. One was a similar kind of thing, a heater. I know I did mention to you about electric heaters you can get. They just plug in and obviously blow around there. And somebody mentioned they've got a EcoMax heater. I have heard these mentioned once or twice before, which is obviously a powered heater that's in there, and again just keeps the heat within the vehicle. So it's kind of on the same kind of basis of that you plug something in and it heats heat around the vehicle. If you haven't got that diesel heater, or if you're on a site anyway, you're obviously probably paying for electricity anyway. You could pop that on and get that working. And then finally, one thing we didn't mention actually, which was the toppers that go all over the top of the actual roof of the vehicle. I did mention, I think briefly, about you can get ones that are in the inside of there, but the ones that come over the top, a topper which essentially incorporates the whole of the top of the roof. These are really good for two things actually. One, they give you really good protection for your canvas that's on there on the outside of the vehicle, and obviously they naturally keep a lot of heat in. There's lots of different variations you can get on these depending on the material and how breathable that material is, so that air can come out. Great if you're away in this kind of time of the year as well. You might not hear it where we are here, but it's absolutely throwing it down today outside. It's here. So if you're in really, really bad weather, obviously that's just something else that you can get for the vehicle as well, and well worth a good investment on those if you're going to have the roof up in bad conditions when it's at this time of year and onwards as well into early part of next year that's there. So thanks for those comments. It's great to get that feedback from you as well. And we will keep checking out that, keep looking at the videos on there as well. If you want those, you can go and have a look. If you check that video out on how to stay warm and read through the comments below, you'll see these comments in there and any new ones that come in as well. So thank you for that. It really does. There's a few in there that surprised me and hadn't even thought of as well. So really, really good. Really good. So moving back onto the Q&A. So next question up is regarding park assist. Somebody's asked with park assist, will that allow you to park into a bay? And I'm assuming by that you're referring to things like a car parking space, etc. Now, if it was a bay that was like a parallel parking movement, obviously that would allow you to do, because you could drive past it and the vehicle can identify that bay. And then obviously as it reverses in, it will go into the bay as it comes round from on there. But I'm assuming you're talking really about more like a car park space bay that you would drive past and then come in. And the Park Assist doesn't do that function at the moment. That's not something which Park Assist incorporates into at all. However, to give you an idea of what might be coming on future models in the future, the ID Buzz does have a similar system, and it has a memory function which you can get with it as well. So, for example, if there's a parking space you use on a regular basis, there might be a bay spacing at work, for example, that you have. You can actually program the vehicle so that it knows the last bit of your journey. So a good one, for example, is if you arrive home and you park in a particular place at your house and you drive in, for example, and then reverse in, you can actually set the memory on the vehicle so that it will actually automatically do that. That memory function can allow you to program different ones in as well. So watch this space. It might be something that's coming, but currently it doesn't have the facility to do that. Next question somebody's asked is about 4 keys. What's 4 keys about as an option? Why did you have it? So vehicles all come standard with 2 keys. Both remotes, both do exactly the same thing. You can use them in there. And there's an option to upgrade and get 4 keys. Now this type of option is more the option that would originally come from a fleet perspective. And the reason being that is issue, for example, if you can imagine a fleet vehicle that's owned on a fleet and it goes out to somebody, you probably want to give the people that are actually using it 2 keys. But obviously the fleet company themselves, the person who actually owns the vehicle, they're going to want to keep a key. And it's a lot cheaper for these keys to come from the factory rather than having to pay additional money for them once the vehicle's arrived. So that's the kind of thing, the reason why that particular option is there, and it's there across the entire range. Most vehicles you can get an additional 2 keys, but that's kind of where it's come from, if that makes sense. Most people, you only really need 2 keys for a vehicle. It's not a huge amount of money to get those extra keys, but it's more keys. But you can kind of understand why in other situations for people who are owning a vehicle, if, for example, they're hiring a vehicle out to another prime on there, you might want to hire it with 2 keys because someone's going on holiday. But at the same time, they need to retain a key themselves. That's kind of why that option is there. Next 2 questions are kind of in line with each other because they're talking about parts a little bit. Somebody said on the Grand California, one of their catches are broken. Can you get replacements? Simple answer is yes, you can get replacements for those. They're available through the parts department. So if you just give your local dealer a ring or drop it into them, obviously for the reasons why it may have broken, it may or may not be under warranty, but they can advise you on that from on there. But yes, certainly order the parts for you anyway. They're available from those ones, and they just screw in. It's a couple of minutes to change those over, assuming you mean the cabinets at the bottom. And somebody else had asked about beach reference parts. Can you retrofit the new pull-out kitchen unit in the beach to an older beach that's there? Now, I'm going to say no. Let's just get it out there. I'm just going to say no from the start. Could you buy all the bits that you need to put that on there? The answer is probably yes, because these parts, Volkswagen have to, whenever they supply a new vehicle, have to have all the parts available and have to be able to supply all those parts for quite a long length of time that's in there. So could you buy them all? Could you get it to work and get it fitted? Probably yes, if you really wanted to. What would the cost be? Thousands is probably the answer to that. With these things, because you buy each individual one, so you need to do door panels that's in there that go on, the clips, etc. Would it even work when it had been done? Question mark over there that's in there. So my advice on that one would be no, and you're probably better off, if you've got an older beach, is look at getting a pod or something like that, for example, which you can get in and just put that into the side. By the time you're watching this video, we would have released a video on such a thing from Slide Pods, which very kindly we've had one in the showroom here. So by the time you're watching this, you probably would have seen that one because it's coming out before this one. And I'd probably go with more something like that, because that would be something that certainly will be, one, cheaper and probably more beneficial for you to do. So I hope that's kind of answered that. If anybody out there has already done this and you know it's possible, get in touch and let us know. So I hope that's answered all the questions that are there at the moment. There might be 1 or 2 more that we're still working on that are there, but we'll get some answers for those as well. As I said before, if you've got questions or queries, put them in the comments box below for this particular video, and then we can have a look at them, see if we can answer them straight away. If not, try and get some information for you and bring those things back to you. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. If you don't subscribe already, please subscribe. It does help the channel out, increase the numbers, lets us know that we're providing the content that you want to see, and we'll see you next time.